Hello, I'm Rick, also known as the Tarot Fellow, but you already know that because you're somewhere on my social media right now. This meditation that you're about to do was originally part of about 2 hours worth of coursework that came in one of the emotional empowerment boxes that myself and Hollie Hope put together. Now, the emotional empowerment boxes are kits of metaphysical and spiritual supplies, and they include coursework to help you utilize all of the items in that kit to overcome the most prevalent negative emotion in the world for that month. Now, as you do this meditation, there will be items that are mentioned that were originally part of the kit to help enhance the meditation experience. You may or may not have some of these items yourself. If you do, please feel free to use them. If not, if you have a tarot deck, I do recommend you pull out the card and sit with its energy during the meditation. And if you don't have anything at all, that's perfectly okay too. There's still something in this meditation for you. If you're interested in the emotional empowerment boxes, you can get them at thebeautyofperspective.com. And they do sell out. We pack enough for the subscribers and a few extras. And as soon as they are gone, except for the 4 original core boxes that were the first 4 releases. Those will be replenished, and so those meditations will be available only to subscribers. So get yours today at thebeautyofperspective.com, and I hope that you enjoy this meditation. Hello, Emotional Empowerment Box subscribers and Trust Kit owners. I am Rick, and I have a meditation for you this evening for me. Maybe you're doing it in the morning or afternoon, whatever is great. I did have, kind of before we start the meditation, an interesting story as it comes to trust and the challenges that we face, some judgments that we might face in the world. Like, I had an interesting experience this week that I think really relates. Hollie messaged me and she said that somebody was looking at the kit, but that they had a little hang up with the tarot card in the kit. And, you know, it was interesting because I was raised and taught similarly to some of these ideas. And I too would have maybe kind of had a second thought back then about the tarot cards in the kit. And so it just kind of zinged me a little bit as I looked back on the understanding and the reasons for the questions. And my initial thought was that Hollie and I, through these kits, draw from many different spiritual paths, many different traditions, many different spiritual ways and teachings. And we never want to make you feel like everything in the box, in every single box, has to resonate with you, that you have to use every single one of these tools, right? Even the amount of tools that we use in the box, even though we filter them to the specific emotion that we're working with, isn't guaranteed to resonate with you. And part of this whole trust flow is to trust yourself and to recognize the parts and the tools and the traditions that we share with you and which ones resonate and work and are honest and real and authentic to you. And to trust yourself enough to not say, well, they included it, so this is something that I have to do, right? Your work with these boxes is going to be very individualized to you. It's going to be very special to you. And I hope that as you look to any teacher or practice or spiritual realm or structure, that you are able to trust yourself and how you feel to know and remain authentic as you do all of your own spiritual work. So my first thought when Hollie said, how would you respond to this? It was throw the card away. Like, you know, But then as I kind of got myself into this, like, why did I connect with tarot? And what was it about the tarot stories that was familiar and helpful and has become such a core centralized part of my life? And what would I have missed out on had I not trusted those feelings and that draw and that kind of excitement for the tarot stories? And so that might not be true for you, right? And if you're the person that asked that question watching this video, hey, you know, it may not be true for you, and that's perfectly okay. But for me, to not have that exposure or that opportunity to learn to trust myself over outside influences, right, is one of the things that this box is about. It's also about forgiveness and forgiving ourselves and forgiving the times when we haven't trusted ourselves. And there's many times I think that Holly and I will both agree with we've done that as well, right? But it also made me think that it has been a while since I've talked a little bit about tarot and why I was so drawn to it and what it really is. And so I want to take just one more minute before we start the meditation to just kind of describe to you what tarot is in general. And I don't think I've done this, except maybe in the early boxes. So if you've been with us a while, you might have heard this. But if you're new or you haven't heard this before, tarot is a parable, actually. If you lay all 78 cards out in a row in numerical order, they tell a story. And the main character of that story is card 0, and that's the Fool. And the Fool represents each one of us. We are all, not in a bad way, foolish, but we're born into the world very naive, right? We have no idea how to take care of ourselves. We have no idea what our potential is. We have no idea what our talents are. And we begin kind of this journey of discovery, this journey of finding the self, the journey of learning to trust ourselves, right? And so each one of the cards is actually a lesson that every human experiences. There's the Death card, I'm sure you're familiar with, right? That deals with loss and transformation. There's the Lover's card, all about falling in love and how it has such a potential to change our lives. But some of the lesser known cards talk about spiritual fulfillment and how we go through life wanting to leave our mark and believing that if we get rich or build big buildings or somehow, you know, change the world for the better through philanthropy, right, that all of these things will give us fulfillment. And the Fool learns as he goes through his life, and he conquers countries and fights wars and falls in love and has so much taken from him that he realizes that some of the most important things in life are actually the spiritual lessons. Those are the ones that leave the biggest mark, not even on the world, but on our own world, our own selves. And last month's box, we talked about the Moon card, kind of the point in his journey where he discovers intuition and he gets to apply all these intuitive lessons to this world that is very alien and unfamiliar and emotional. And that story actually begins with the Tower card, which is the moment in his life where this beautiful tower that he had constructed that he thought was going to be his mark on the world gets hit by lightning and completely reduced to rubble, right? And if you were a subscriber last month, I gave you that kind of progression of the destruction, and then the Star comes into his life, which is the card that is actually in this kit. And then from there, he begins that journey back to healing, back to trusting, which leads him into this place where he needs to trust his intuition. So we're kind of doing this tarot story a little bit backwards. And of course, there's reasons for that because of the condition of the world, the condition of ourselves. And when you actually get a tarot reading, right, it's never going to be in order, but we get kind of a snapshot or a bird's eye view of the path and the lessons that you're learning with, the things you're struggling with, the journey forward, the lessons that you need to pay more attention to in order to avoid some of the obstacles, right? And so it's perfectly natural for me to see the story play out in reverse, where we begin with our intuition and then the trust comes after, right? And so now we're going to get to spend a little bit of time with this idea of what happens when we really need to visualize, understand kind of the destruction, the harm, the trauma of life, and how to move beyond that and see these beautiful guiding lights that are in our life and that come after those traumatic, destructive events. So for this meditation, you don't need very much. You can anoint yourself with some of the oil if you would like. You can hold any of the crystals that came in the kit if you would like, but I don't have a particular suggestion because I want you to trust yourself and pull out some of the items in the box that you would like to include in this meditation. And you can do this sitting, lying down, whatever is comfortable for you. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and close our eyes, and I will turn off the video so that you have no further distractions. Let's start by taking a deep breath together. In through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. Let's do it again. And exhale through the mouth. One last time, fill up all the way. In through the nose. And exhale, let it go. I want you to imagine that you're walking down a path. It can be any kind of path. Maybe it's a sidewalk in your favorite city. Maybe it's a sandy beach or a leaf-covered path through the forest in the fall. Whatever your path looks like, I want you to feel what it feels like under your feet. Experience the sensations around you. Smell the air. Listen to the sounds. This path leads somewhere that you've been before, whether you know it or not. This path goes to a place that is uniquely yours. It is a place that you can come for healing, for thinking, for meditation, to visit with yourself and perhaps with others. It's your safe space. As you're walking down this path toward this safe space, the sun is setting and the clouds are rolling in. You can smell the hint of rain in the air. about to get to your safe space when you realize that there's a new building, another building, one that is also familiar to you because it is of your making as well. This may be a building of protection, a building of glass or of stone. Maybe it's sharp and built with shards of all of the broken pieces that you have encountered in your past. There's something amazing about this building to you because it has been there for you to protect you when you've needed it most. You've put a lot of effort into this building, more you realize than you have ever put into your safe space, the building just across the way, or the space just across the way. And just like our good friend the Fool here, you realize as the air charges with electricity around you that you are about to experience something challenging, something difficult. But it is of no surprise to you when the lightning strikes and your building crumbles. Within the rubble, you find pieces of past experiences written on the very stones or glass or shards that made up this building. Experiences that have made you who you are, that have taught you strength, that shape how you relate to people and interact with people. There are names of people who have hurt you. Maybe names that you didn't even realize were part of this structure. We don't want to revisit trauma or pain in this space. And you realize that part of the destruction of this building was actually for your benefit because you're ready to let so much of this go. But there is some anxiety when your safety net gets pulled out from under you. How will you learn to trust yourself and your relations to other people without all of the protective walls and measures? As you explore the rubble, you take a moment to sit down and consider your legacy. What this protective building had represented to you. And as you are looking around, you notice a woman just down the way. She she's dipping a vessel into the water and pouring it on the ground just at the edge of the rubble at the foundation of this building. You look at her and you ask, "What are you doing?" And she responds to you that she is watering the ground where this building once stood, so that something healthy and beautiful can grow in its place. And then she asks you, "Are you excited to begin living your life without the need for walls of protection? Are you ready to trust your interactions with people and relationships and emotions and jobs and family and friends, all based on the trust that you already have, the experience that you have learned, and to do so without the safety net of this building?" As you consider this question, there's a spark of hope. The idea that you can live without the boundaries of these walls. The desire to open up new connections and travel to new places and to learn new things, all based on your own trust. As you consider this, the woman begins to float in the air, higher and higher and higher, until she is nothing but a speck of light in the stars. Hope is a journey, not a destination. Much like trust, it is a constant, moving thing. The destination will probably never be reached, nor should it be. But the journey, being guided by the light of the stars, is what trust is truly about. The greatest lesson to be found here is the lesson to trust your own inner light. It's time now to come back to the world, to leave your safe space, knowing that it is there for you anytime you wish to return. Let's take a deep breath together. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Give yourself an overhead stretch if that feels good. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. It's a new world when we can live without walls because we trust ourselves. And when we pair that with our intuition and we open up the gates to emotion and to connection and to relationships, it just becomes so much more freeing. It's a freedom feeling to be able to live your life knowing that you can trust yourself. Thank you for joining me.